Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. Later in the show, I'll talk with Eddie Chuculate, Creek and Cherokee Indian author from Muskogee, Oklahoma, and I'll chat with attorney and playwright Claude Jackson Junior. In the studio with me is Lieutenant Commander Jackie Campbell. She is a pharmacist at Phoenix Indian Medical Center. She will be talking to us about Drug Take-Back Day. Hello, Jackie. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
And please tell us about Drug Take-Back Day.
Yes, so National Drug Take-Back Day happens twice a year at sites all over the country to encourage people to clean out their medicine cabinets and get rid of old, unused, or expired medications. Phoenix Indian Medical Center and community partners like the Phoenix Police Department, Phoenix Indian Center, Urban Indian Coalition of Arizona, and the DEA are working together to host a collection site at PIMC on Saturday, October 28th. This year, in addition to providing a way to safely get rid of old or unused medications, we will have a health fair to celebrate Red Ribbon Week. We will also have pharmacists and first responders available to provide education on medication safety, opioid overdose prevention, and naloxone, and answer questions about your medications.
And why is Drug Take-Back Day important?
This event is so important because it helps to remove old, unused, and expired medications from the homes of individuals in the community, which can prevent medication errors, misuse, and accidental overdose. By removing unnecessary medications from a home that are no longer being used, it can help to prevent children, pets, and acquaintances from taking medications, which can save a life and help combat the opioid epidemic.
And how can you tell if someone in your household is using medication that were not prescribed to them?
So medications could be missing from where you stored them, or it could run out earlier than they should. It's important to store medications appropriately in a place where others, like pets, children, or visitors, can't get to them, such as using a lockbox. This can especially be important for controlled substances, which have an additional risk of overdose and abuse potential.
And can you remind us again, when and where will the event take place?
Of course. So the Drug Take-Back Day will take place on Saturday, October 28th at Phoenix Indian Medical Center, which is located at 4212 North 16th Street, the northwest corner of 16th Street and Indian School Road, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be a drive-through event, and there will be signs to lead you to the drop-off location.
And who can attend, and what kind of medications can be dropped off?
So it's open to the community. Anyone can stop by and drop off old, unused, or expired medications, whether they're prescription or over-the-counter.
And is there any type of medications that cannot be accepted?
Yes. So please do not bring liquid medications, creams or ointments, inhalers or aerosols, sharps or needles, because we can't accept them. It's also best to try to remove all personal health information from the medication bottles that are being brought in. If you can't remove the labels, you can also try blocking them out with a permanent marker. So block out your name, address, and prescription number and the patient chart number using a black permanent marker.
And if you can't make the Drug Take-Back Day event, how can you get rid of your old or unused medication from your house?
So you can look up other national drug take-back events on the DEA's website. That's www.dea.gov/takebackday to find a collection site near you. They also have other helpful resources, including listings for year-round drug disposal locations in your area. For many medications, it can be safely disposed of at home by mixing old or unused medications with used cat litter or coffee grounds. You seal them up in a sealable container and then discard of them in the trash. The FDA also has a flush list for certain medications where the medications on the list have a high risk of harm to people from accidental exposure, but a low risk to the environment. The drug take-back programs are always the safest way to get rid of unused medications, but in case you don't have one closest to you, it's important to know other ways to keep your home safe.
Do you have any other information about the event?
Yes, so in addition to the drive-through medication drop-off, a health fair will be on the east patio near the main entrance of the hospital from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will have many health booths set up with great information and activities for the whole family. We will have informative presentations including RX 360, opioid overdose prevention, and vaping, Know the Facts. The vaccine clinic will also be open for people eligible for care at PIMC. With the event so close to Halloween, we would like to see all of the princesses, goblins, pirates, vampires, Barbies, and other Halloween costumes because at 12 noon, we will have a walkway so that the kids can show off their costumes. It's going to be a busy day for everyone. And last but not least, PIMC cannot have a health fair without an Indian market. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., many local Native American vendors will have their crafts available for purchase, so please join us for all of the fun.
Wow, it sounds like a very exciting event for the families to partake in and also bringing their old and unused medication. So it is on Saturday, October 28th. I would like to thank you, Lieutenant Commander Campbell, for coming in today to tell us about this exciting event.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Coming up, I'll talk with Eddie Chuculate. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Sundancer 21 by Eagle and Hawk.
It's hard, but you said it, and you meant it, but would you keep on going? Sundancer, carry the weight on your shoulder, on your shoulder. They say we're all
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Pawadi. Eddie Chuculate is a Creek and Cherokee Indian author from Muskogee, Oklahoma, who has won the O. Henry Prize and Pushcart Prize citations for his short fiction. Eddie was the second Native American to ever hold the prestigious Stinger Fellowship. Hello, Eddie. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Hey, good to be here.
Absolutely. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and your background?
I'm Creek and Cherokee from Muskogee, Oklahoma. I attended the Institute of American Indian Arts. I got a associate degree. From there, I won a Stegner Fellowship at Stanford University, creative writing, 2-year fellowship. Shortly after that, my first book, Cheyenne Madonna, came out. And this is my second book, This Indian Kid.
Okay, Eddie, that was great. Thank you for sharing that. And that is so great to hear that this is your second book. Can you tell us about this new book, This Indian Kid?
Yeah, it's a memoir that started when my first book came out. 6 or 7 short stories called Cheyenne Madonna, and some of those dealt with things that happened when I was a kid, but they didn't necessarily fit into the story I was writing at the time. So I made note of those episodes in a journal, kind of kept them away. Then after the book came out, I went back to them, and I fleshed one of the stories out, about 20 pages, and sent it to my agent. He really liked it and wondered if I had any more about growing up, as a kid in Oklahoma, and that's how the project started.
So the This Indian Kid was really a story of yourself?
Yeah, it's about me growing up. The title comes from a part towards the end where I'm sitting there at a party with this white girl on a couch. And, it's a lot of kids. I guess some parents are out of town or something, typical high school party. And this white kid bends over and whispers in that girl's ear. Well, sort of whispers, loud enough for me to hear. He goes, "What are you doing with this Indian kid?" So that's the title, This Indian Kid.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that background on the title. I know recently, while you were promoting this book, This Indian Kid, you did a little video on YouTube that kind of talked more in depth about your book and kind of sharing a little bit about your past starting, was it first grade?
What grade?
Was it first grade?
Yeah, there's some first grade. That's when I started school. I didn't go to Head Start or kindergarten.
Oh, wow. So is that kind of like how your story starts off in your book, is when you started first grade?
No, it doesn't start off there, but it's in there.
Oh, wow. And how did you decide that you wanted to write this novel about your I guess your background in school?
Oh, it started out as some of the stories that I left out from my first book that were focused on growing up. And I realized I had a lot more of them. So that was the aim, is just to kind of describe how this Native American grew up in Oklahoma. It gives readers a different insight into one part of Native American life that doesn't concern a reservation or stuff like that, which most natives don't live on a reservation, but people don't know that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take you to write this book?
About 1.5 years, because I had a deadline.
Oh, wow.
So, I started like in winter of 21, well, meaning like January, February, and it was due like summer of 22, so about 1.5 years.
Oh, well, that
and
is.
this is also, I wrote it while I also have a full-time job at the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. So I wrote in the mornings before I started my shift in the afternoon.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. I don't know how you juggled all of that. Eddie, how can you expand on how your experience growing up in the school has made an impact on you to write this book, to share it with others? What are you hoping that others will get out of reading your book?
Well, one is the aspect of a different snapshot of a Native American kid growing up, to give readers a different outlook overall. But then as far as kids, there's lessons in there that can be learned from, say if you might have fell off the straight and narrow path or gotten into trouble. That doesn't mean you have to stay in trouble, and that if you stay in school, good things are going to happen, because you're going to meet people that'll guide you on your way. And it doesn't matter what race these people are. They could be black, white, Indian, Native, Asian, Mexican. Race doesn't matter when it comes to something like that. Anyone could be a influential player in your life. And also, I say in there, just because your parents or other adults may be racist, and you hear that stuff all the time, that doesn't mean you have to follow right along, which happens all the time.
Oh, yes, definitely. And Eddie, going back to your first book, can you tell us more about the Cheyenne Madonna?
Yeah, that started out actually as when I attended the Institute of American Indian Art. I took a creative writing class. So I went there to major in museum studies. But I took this creative writing class because I had just left, sports writing, and I still missed it. So I wanted to take something involving writing, and I wound up taking a fiction class. And you got to produce stories, and I got my first story published while I was at school in Weber State University, called Weber Studies. And another story I wrote during that time eventually got published, but I used it for an application to a creative writing program at Stanford, and I got that. So after IA, I went to Stanford. But the book itself is 6 or 7 related short stories tracking the life of an Indian artist, many of which I wrote while I was in school at IA.
So Eddie, when did you first start, or when did the interest of writing come to you? Was it while you were in school? Because I know you mentioned you also did a little bit of sport writing.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the book. I started writing when I was 6 or 7 years old. And my grandma actually kept a story that I wrote about the hillbilly on the Mountain Dew bottle. The one in the goofy hat and the overalls?
Yes.
I wrote a story that he ran away from home. And his family was worried, obviously. They went looking for him, and I found him hiding in a tree, rescued him, and they lived happily ever after. That was my story when I was like 6. So I've been writing, I don't know, it just came natural. It wasn't like my grandma sat me down and said, here, write a story, or it was just, I just did it.
Oh, wow.
And the sports writing came at Muskogee High School in Oklahoma. My baseball coach was also a sports writer, or a previous had been, and he taught journalism in addition to coaching baseball. And he had me and another native kid, Spencer Wilkinson, take his journalism class. And he noticed that I picked it right up, just like I was a natural, just like I was a professional right off the bat, like at age 16. So he turned me on to the local newspaper. and I started writing for them in high school, and it just went from there.
Oh wow, that is so great. How has your writing evolved?
Well, for this last book, it was something totally different. 'Cause I'm so used to writing fiction. When I came to a spot in the book, like me and Lonnie going fishing or something, I always had the temptation to make something up. Like, what if, let's say I go home with Lonnie and something happens there, but then I realized I'm writing a memoir. I can't be making stuff up. So it's two totally different things, the first book and the second book.
I know, Eddie, you kind of talked a little bit about how you started writing at a young age, but did your family encourage you, kind of give you that encouragement to continue your writing?
Not really. It was just something I did on my own, you know.
And do you have a favorite, like a favorite book, or is there a specific genre that you like, that you enjoy reading?
I like reading a lot of things. I mean, sometimes I get tired of reading fiction, and I'll just find a book at the library about, you know, anything random, like history of the Golden Gate Bridge or cookbooks or anything. But my main thing is I like to, you know, I try to read literary fiction. I look for new novels. Sometimes I don't, you know, you get to going on 15, 20 pages and it's just not working for you. I used to like gut it out and read the whole thing. Now I just move on.
And do you have a favorite author?
Favorite author right now, a guy named Evan Cannell. I really got interested in him this year because I read a book. I recognize that name, and I don't know what I just knew it from somewhere. And when I saw that it's a biography, this writer Evan Cannell, he wrote "Son of the Morning Star," which is a nonfiction account of Custer's last stand. And that book just blew me away. I had never read it. I'd always heard about it, and I finally sat down and read it, and it's just great, that book. Yeah, so much research that guy did. But Evan Cannell also wrote fiction. So, but I kind of plowed through so many books of his now that I think I'm going to reread Son of the Morning Star.
Oh, wow. And is that something you would want to do in the future, is kind of like write a fiction book?
Yeah, for sure. I thought you were going to say nonfiction. The answer was going to be no. All the research Evan put into Son of the Morning Star, I mean, he traveled out to the Badlands and actually lived there for a while and holed up in libraries and researching manuscripts and talking to people and traveling all over the country, going into library archives and stuff. I don't have the energy for that. I might have it at one point, but I'd rather write fiction.
Oh, yes, definitely. And talking about your future, do you have any other plans on writing other books, or what are your future plans?
Yeah, my future plan is to, I've already started on a next book, doing some research and some outlining. I'll be talking with my agent pretty soon. He wants to, going to get up to date on where that's going. And the good thing about it is if you get, say 20 or 30,000 words down, I don't know how many pages that would be, like 100 maybe. They can start shopping that around. You don't have to have the whole thing.
Oh, wow. That is really interesting. Well, I'd like to thank you for sharing that, Eddie. Can you let our listeners know where they can find more information about your book, where they can purchase it, and how or who can they contact for further questions?
Sure. The book is available now at any bookstore or online. Came out yesterday. you could even check the library. I went to the American Library Association conference in June in Chicago, and there was about, I don't know how many thousands of librarians there. So chances are it'll also be at a library, but order it from a bookstore or get online.
And do you have like a website or social media where individuals could follow you to learn more about yourself as well?
Yeah, Facebook would be best for that. I've got an Instagram, but it's just things that were already on Facebook anyway. So Facebook is the mainstay on that.
Perfect. We'll continue to follow your journey, Eddie, and we're definitely looking forward to your third book and also any other books you have in store in the future. I would like to thank you, Eddie, for taking time out to talk to us today to tell us more about your book, This Indian Kid, and also giving us a highlight of your previous book and letting us know about your future.
Thanks for having me on. I really look forward to it.
Up next, I'll chat with attorney and playwright Claude Jackson Junior Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health's patient enrollment specialist can help you enroll, renew, or update your access information. This can be done in person, on the phone, or Zoom, days, nights, or weekends. It's fast, easy, and can make a difference in keeping your health care coverage. For more information, call 602-285-9492. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Reap and Sow by One Way Sky. Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. In the studio with me is Claude Jackson Junior. Hello, Claude. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Oh, thank you. The honor is mine as well. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And before we get started, can you tell us about yourself, your journey, and your background?
Oh, sure. So I'm a member of the Gila River Indian community. I grew up in South Phoenix. I always specify that not just Phoenix, but South Phoenix. I love the South Side. And native Arizonan. So a member of the Gila River as well. I have ties to the Hopi Nation, and I'm embarrassed to say that there are strong ties to Hopi, but I haven't been there in years, and I kind of have to go back to my elders and ask them, like, wait, where are we? Is it Second Mesa? So, but yeah, so I've grown up here in Arizona. I work for my tribe as an attorney. I run our public defender's office in Gila River. I'm also a writer, and but yeah, that's it. I know up and down this city, and even where we're at now. So.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. And I know we're going to talk today more into your playwriting. Can you tell us more how you got into your film writing and playwriting experience? Yeah,
sure. So I've always been I love film, love movies. Was going to the theater. Even my mom would let me go by myself. I remember seeing Bronco Billy, a Clint Eastwood movie back in the early 80s. I don't think I was 10 years old. I took the bus to see it. So I love movies. Christown Mall was probably the main one out here. And I loved watching old black and white movies, westerns, and you name it, I watched it. And so as I got older, I became more of a film buff. And in my early 20s, when I was at Arizona State, I just took up screenwriting. I saw some sample scripts and started writing that way, and just took it up mainly as a hobby more than anything. And then about 10 years ago, I took up playwriting because the Native Voices at the Autry, which is kind of like the Heard Museum of LA, they sent out they periodically send out a call for plays. Short plays, and they have a theme. It's a native theme usually. And about 10 years ago, the theme was sports, and I sent out, and I got chosen, and they performed it, and it was a wonderful experience. And I think I've had like about 7 of them that they've accepted, and then I ended up winning. 1 year I won for one of my plays, and then from that play I kind of expanded. And that's where I'm at now.
Oh, wow. That is so awesome. And where do you get your inspiration on your playwrights?
Wow. You know what? I just try to take like everyday life, and I try to be informed of the what's happening out there, and then just really simple observation. I can sit really anywhere and by myself at a coffee shop or anywhere and just kind of observe what's happening. And I was at the state fair the other day, and just standing around looking at that looks like a young couple that's on a date, and I'm just trying to observe them. I probably look like a creeper just watching them. But yeah, that's where I try to get and then from my observations, just try to see if there's I can formulate a story out of all that.
And do you have to be a good writer to be a playwright?
That's a good question. It's to get noticed, of course, you have to have some kind of level of talent, but really anyone can write. And I think really the key is understanding the form, understanding what kind of story you're telling, and you start telling a straight story. The dialogue is just between two people. Is it more dream sequence? But also the key to writing anything is rewriting, is editing it, looking at your work, and being able to say, okay, I have to tighten this up here and there, and that's really what a writer has to do, because I personally could write a story pretty fast. I'm a fast writer, but it's not going to be a very good story.
Yes.
So that's the key right there. Is I think you just have to, like anything in life, you just have to be disciplined in what you're doing.
And earlier you mentioned screenwriting. What's the difference between screenwriting and playwright?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, it's the format is different, but in screenwriting more than anything, and they kind of overlap here and there, but in screenwriting more than anything is you're also you're going to be visual the whole time. So just in the description of it, any kind of movement's got to kind of be described, and maybe as a writer you want to describe where the camera will be focusing on a particular scene. So you have a lot of that, and but in playwriting, I found, and this is a personal thing, is that playwriting, it is more of the dialogue, and I guess that's the fun part about it. Is I'm really trying to match that, because you're contained in a certain scene. You're not doing some amazing action sequence for the most part. But by the same token, when you're writing a play, I mean, Shakespeare wrote these wonderful epics, and they were for the stage. So you could play around with that. But I think the main difference these days is action. This firm action or action sequences are kind of movie based. Plays still have that dialogue, and and then of course you can get into musicals, and I guess you can write both for that. So,
that's
which
true.
I haven't.
And you do have an upcoming play. Can you tell us more about your play?
Sure. So I have a play. It's called Olivia, and I wrote that. Again, it was from Native Voices. The theme back then was home, and but I wrote it as a kind of a modern Western of a woman that is protecting her home from a corrupt sheriff who she's also protecting a young woman who was running away from the sheriff that witnessed him murder someone. And so it's just one of these kind of the old Mexican standoff, the duel, and that's how I wrote the short play, and then I expanded it because then this one character in there, her name was Roella. She's a young girl, the young woman, and I started to just expanding the play. I'm starting to delve into these characters more, and then I found that I really wanted to play on the missing and murdered indigenous persons, and the exploitation there, and we as a society, we're doing wonders now, but in the beginning, where did we fail then? Why was society neglecting this issue? And so I touched on kind of this corruption on all levels, local and on the federal level as well, and then what we just failed to see. What was the life on the res at the time. So I kind of expanded to that, and so that's what I'm doing. And Arizona State is putting on a what is called a theater lab, and so in November they're going to showcase. It's going to be one night, and it's going to be a full-on theater read, a reading or glorified read, I could say. It's not going to be a full-on production, but it is going to be an opportunity for me to see it read by an enthusiastic actors, and see where I can go from there. So.
Oh wow, that's amazing! And what other plays have you written?
So one was recognized as it's called Cashed Out, and that one was actually showcased earlier this year in San Francisco. San Francisco Playhouse put it on in their season last year, January, February, and that one was about a group of basket makers on the res, and they're well known, and this is entirely fictional, of course, and they're well known, but one of them suffers from problem gambling, so it's gambling addiction essentially, and so that one was kind of like kind of epic in scope, and because that again short play, but I expanded it, and so it really showed off the traditional values. Culture of basketry, but then also, with this person suffering from addiction, and we're not the typical substance abuse or alcohol abuse, but I chose gambling addiction, and so it it was well received in San Francisco, and I was real proud of it. And my goal now is to try to bring it here to Arizona, especially in the Phoenix, because of it's based in Gila River. So.
Oh, okay. And talking about where we can kind of see your plays, is there an area specific that we could see some of your old plays?
That's a good question. I would check with Native Voices at the Autry. If you were to check there, they might have some kind of website or access to that, and depending on, actually you can just ask them. I think they're pretty open to that. But I don't have off the top of my head. I don't know of any live performances. Oh, there's another one where one of my plays called The Last Holdouts. That one was put on by a group in New York, and that was a live read, a Zoom, and they may still have that one up. It was called the Playhouse was called the Eagle Project, and it's a pretty well-known native theater out there in New York.
Oh, wow. And how long does it take you to write and produce a play?
That's a good question. So the writing part, as I said, is I'm pretty fast with that. I can churn out something pretty fast, but so that takes it could take a few months, but it could also take several months because of a rewriting process. It all depends on when it's going to be produced, or if someone has commissioned me to do something like that. Producing a play, that's an entirely different beast altogether. First of all, it takes a lot of money. Or, it could be bare bones. It could be very independent. It's in theater community, you call it a black box, where it's just one simple room and a few people, and you perform there. So it really all depends. But if you really want to do a full-on production like I want to do with Cashed Out, and it's going to take a lot of time, which is fine with me. I'm pretty patient with it all.
And thinking about all of the plays that you have written, and then to the most recent one that you did, Olivia, how has your plays evolved?
It's good. I guess it's just a matter of if you keep doing it enough, you just get a little better. You get an ear for the dialogue and in exactly what story you want to take. Because I've written enough plays where, and I turn it over to people and they review it and they look at it, and I get some really good professional feedback on it. And so I'm now well in tune with that. It's okay. I know that the mistakes that I made a year ago, I've cleaned those up. Again, like anything you do in life, practice makes perfect. So I just think I'm getting, as I go along, and my mind is sharp, and I'm getting a little bit better with my writing day by day.
Oh, yes, definitely. And do you have a favorite play or film?
Ooh, well, the film itself, I think, would have to be The Godfather. Could be Goodfellas. So those are gangster plays in general. But you named a genre, I like it. But those are the ones that I've probably been watching a lot lately. A big old school Casablanca one. I can go down to horror movies. I know Exorcist has been showing this season. I've watched that plenty of times. In plays, I would have to say. So I was a big Shakespeare guy, and so I know most of those plays. But lately, one of my favorite playwrights right now is Larissa Fastor. She's been almost like a mentor to me. She's really been helpful. She's a native playwright. But all-time favorite right now has been Death of a Salesman, All My Sons. Those are by Arthur Miller, and then Uncle Vanya is another one that is by. There's a Russian playwright, and his name escapes me. But those plays, those are classic plays that I just been a Chekhov. But those plays right there, I've been listening to them over and over again, and they spur a lot of emotion for me. And I don't think I've seen, except maybe Death of a Salesman, I don't think I've even seen them live. So I'm anxious to see them performed.
And do your favorite films or play ever kind of give you inspiration on some of the playwrights that you have created?
Most definitely. You look at something and, you just, anything that you like, it's always going to inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to inspire you to, first of all, say, hey, I wish I can do that. But, first it's going to entertain you, honestly. And you're just going to be entertained, and it's going to be your escape. It's going to be something you always want to do, a good book, anything. And then from there, when you start like studying it more, then you start seeing there's a craft to it. There's a plan in place. Then that's when you really, try to be a little more technical on it. And like, for instance, Olivia, the play I have, it's inspired by several things, but one of the things is it's just the main character, the main bad guy in there, his name is John Brown, and I took that directly from Bob Marley's song "I Shot the Sheriff,"
Mm-hmm.
and Sheriff John Brown. So you could find inspiration in just about anything.
Oh, wow. And what are your plans for the future?
It's a good question. I just want to just keep writing.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep doing stories because last night I was working on Olivia, and this is a very adult story. Now my 9-year-old was getting bored. Maybe she was watching, maybe all her YouTube videos were boring her, and she was just hovering over me. And I asked her, "Hey, can you read this scene with me?" It's a daughter and a father, but obviously much more adult themes. She loved it. She enjoyed it, and that's where really, more than anything, that's what's keeping me going in terms of writing, is just what my daughter and my kids will take from this, throughout. But, I'm telling stories, and I just want to make sure that my community and Arizona is as I'm able to share those stories with them. And so, we're working on that. I'm working through that, where I'm just trying to make sure that I can develop an audience here locally, and but yeah, that's the plan, and see how it goes.
Oh, wow. And for anybody who is maybe wanting to go into playwriting, do you have any advice for any of our youth, or maybe even high school or college students?
Just keep writing, and don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask for. I mean, you reach out to me. I'm easy to find. Facebook or Instagram, and I'm in Gila River as well. Just ask around, but just reach out to people and just ask some questions. Mm-hmm. And again, I mentioned Larissa Fastford. She's nationally known, mm-hmm. and I've been able to reach out to her and ask her. Because she knows me, but I haven't found anyone especially in the theater community that is saying, no, I don't have time mm-hmm. for this. They are busy people, but they, like in any profession, they want to know there's a next generation coming mm-hmm. up. But honestly, it's also it's writing, and it's also, if you want to be a playwright, you watch a lot of plays. Mm-hmm. Just you whatever you want to get in, you have to study it.
Mm-hmm. I would like to thank you for coming in today, but can you let us know how can someone reach out and contact you if they have further questions or want more information about your plays?
Sure. So I can be reached at Claude Berg, ClaudeBerg. I think those are my Facebook and Instagram and Twitter handles. But it's Claude Jackson, Phoenix. There's really not that. There might be a few that are out there, but you can locate me through that. I have a personal email. It's a Gmail account. It's ClaudeBerg72, and also my production company that I share with my brother is called Mile 213 Productions, and Mile Post 213 Productions. We don't have a website yet, but mm-hmm. I'm sure in the next. Within the next few weeks or whatever, we're going to have that one back up because, we also just produced a film based on my play Cashed Out. We did a short film, and that one actually is going to be it's going to be a buzz on that one, and we're excited for that. That one's called The River, and so we're really excited about that. So that's another way to reach me.
Oh, wow. That is so exciting. And then you also have your other play with ASU coming up here in November. Well, I would like to thank you, Claude, for coming in today to tell us about your amazing playwriting experience and also sharing your playwrights with us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, supported by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Audio editing by Javier Quiroga, and the executive producer is Susan Levy. And I'm host Lanasha Puwadi. We hope you tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please email us at nativetalkaz@radiophoenix.org.